And everyone will receive a copy of the presentation after it processes. Okay, what to say and how to say it. Using words and images to craft your email messages, and that's why we are here today. Welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is Danna Crawford. I'm also known as Power Selling Mom. Quick info about me for those that don't know. I'm an authorized local expert with Constant Contact. I've been using their service since 2006. And shortly after that, I became a certified business consultant trained by eBay after being an active seller on the site since '97. So with my experience of teaching eBay classes and workshops in partnership with the United States Postal Service, Constant Contact contacted me to go through their certification program. And now I do webinars and local workshops on the topic of social media and email marketing. Next, I became the development director for our local food bank after a meeting with the board while I was teaching them about fundraising using the power of Constant Contact for donations and also raising funds on eBay using their free eBay for Charity program. So next thing you know, they offered me a part-time job that I couldn't resist since I'm passionate about the cause of feeding America, and our food bank is First Step foodbank.org, and they're part of the Feeding America network that serves our community in Ocala, Florida, and our county in Marion. So there you have it. Those are the three hats I wear: Constant Contact, eBay, and the food bank. You can learn more. Visit my website at powersellingmom.com or just Google my name, Danna Crawford. Now enough about me. Let's talk about you. And first off, let me just take a minute to explain what Constant Contact is for those in the room that may not be familiar. Constant Contact is a do-it-yourself online marketing system. You can use it to create and manage campaigns. The company is best known for its email marketing tools. It's easy to create and send mass emails like newsletters or announcements and updates. You can run special promotions or offers, and you can build online surveys and polls to gather feedback. And you can promote and manage your events using Constant Contact's registration tools, payment acceptance, invitations, all in one place. All of this is built on top of a really good contact base so that you can load all of your contacts, your customers, stakeholders, volunteers, staff, your board, whatever lists you're keeping in various spreadsheets or in your Outlook, Gmail, Yahoo folders, can be loaded and organized easily into Constant Contact so that your people and your marketing campaigns are all together in one spot. Oh, and it costs most people between $20 to $75 a month to manage all of this, depending on your list. So that's it in a nutshell. I will just now give you a framework of a simple definition of what marketing really is. So you already know generally what it is, but when I say the word marketing, I mean something very specific, and it's important that we're all here on the same page. My definition of marketing has three simple parts. One, you define an audience, which is a group of people that you want to target. And two, you reach out to them with a message that is specific to that audience. And three, you receive a physical and measurable response, which are the results that you want and need to get your business. So what kind of results are we talking about? Well, these are examples of physical and measurable responses. These actions represent a decision by a person to do something in response to what you put out there. It's not a mechanical response, it's a human, and it must be measurable. But keep in mind that overall goals come back to why you're in business and what's going to keep you in business, and that is generating revenue or donations. So if the response you're getting doesn't lead in some way directly to the bottom line, then you should evaluate why you're driving these types of responses. Today we're going to talk about the content you can share, whether it's written or images, can drive the responses you need to get your business or organization on the path. Oops. So content is currency on the internet, and it works offline too. When it comes to content, you have an advantage over big businesses and organizations because you can use the tools and tips we'll talk about today to have a real conversation with your customers, your clients, members, volunteers. You can also use their feedback and questions to come up with new content. Content is what people search for, consume, and share. It's what they pay attention to. Through the content you email to your audience, you can become a source that your customers, clients, members, volunteers know, like, and trust. And as we progress through this presentation, think about the conversations you have with your customers or clients. What kind of questions do they ask you? How can you use those questions and conversations to create a great email? Now let's tackle the big question. What kind of content should you use in your email? Email content basically boils down to a picture, a paragraph, and a call to action. Easy. Email content is made up of the words, images, and videos you use in your email campaigns that is designed to attract, convert, and retain an audience. When you're sending out an email to the people on your contact list, you want to make sure it is relevant and interesting and includes a clear call to action, meaning the response you're seeking to solicit from your readers, whether that's buying a product, taking your advice, signing up for services, referring you to friends, donating to your nonprofit, answering your survey, or whatever action you're hoping they take. You can make that action easily accessible by including links to whatever you want your audience to do. Excuse me. Here's an example of an email from a company called Great Vacation Retreats. At the top of the message, they have a great picture that prominently features their brand, a text block that announces their deal, a paragraph that describes it, and a link, which is a call to action for readers to view their available vacation rentals. Even if they didn't list the individual rentals in the email, they'd have more than enough information that communicates the action they want their audience to take. So that's to book a rental in Hawaii. And as a bonus, they approached that Great Vacation Retreats, took this email and made it mobile friendly. It's a single column template, there's not too much text, and it's not too long. This email will look great no matter where the reader opens it, on mobile or on their desktop. This is really important. So remember, when you're thinking of content that you'll create from scratch, you're not writing for yourself. You're writing for your audience. So make your message relevant, short, and focused. Your email shouldn't be telling recipients every single thing that you do, and it shouldn't include over-exaggerated information. You can make it relevant to your audience by thinking about the conversations you've had with your clients, your customers, your members. After an interaction, you may want to jot down some ideas that can help you expand on a topic. I've mentioned relevance a few times now, and here's why it's important that you include content that's for your audience and not for you. It's because 38% of email recipients will unsubscribe if they think the content in your email is boring or irrelevant. And when a person unsubscribes, you won't be able to communicate with them again. And 32% will send you irrelevant content to their spam folders, which could impact how email providers like Gmail or Yahoo sort your future messages. So keep that in mind. So here's what else I'm going to talk about today. First, I'll talk about creating content, how you will come up with ideas for the words, images, and calls to action you will use in your email marketing. And we'll talk about curating content, how to find and share content from outside sources that you can use in your marketing. And next, we'll talk about extending your reach beyond your email by using social media. And then we'll talk about how you can get started developing content ideas from your own organization. So first, we'll talk about the content you create. So what do you write about in your emails? This is one of the biggest questions and the biggest hurdles people encounter when they set out to create an email. The good news is that you know your organization better than anyone else, and there's a world of ideas there for you. First and above all else, you write about what you know that they don't know. This is an opportunity to share your knowledge and raise your profile as an interesting organization and an expert in your field. I can't stress that enough as a consultant. I tell people, claim yourself as an expert. There's too many people that are out there that are claiming themselves as an expert. So don't be afraid to step up to the plate and call yourself an expert, because if you don't, who will? And I think it's really important that you claim that as you're marketing your business. So here are some ideas of types of content that you can share with your audience. Take a minute to look at what's on the screen right now and be thinking of ways you can explore these ideas and content about your business. So now let's talk about a few of them. So let's talk about this, offerings. If you have a new product, you can write a paragraph describing what it does and use all photos or videos or share a quick product demo or tutorial. If you have an event coming up, send out all the details in a short email, including a link to register for the event. Updates. Do you have a new location? Have you hired a new employee? Or do you have a well-known employee retiring? Send out a biography and a photo to your customers and clients. Updates can go out in the form of a newsletter or even a press release. Perhaps you're a nonprofit. I know we have a few here today, and you've received a big grant. That's a perfect reason to send out an email update. Did you have a recent event? Send out a survey asking recipients how it was, or send an email to share photos of the event. Education. Again, you are an expert in your field. Write about what you know that your audience doesn't. This is your opportunity to weigh in with your perspective on a study or a news story. If you sell a product, you can make a video that demonstrates how to use it. You can also share your know-how. Let's say you own a landscaping company. You can send out an email early in the spring and lay out a good planting schedule for your clients. Entertainment. Don't be afraid to show your fun side. I know everybody here has a fun side. You've seen something funny on YouTube that relates to your field, or have you heard an interesting, funny, or inspiring quote you want to share? Maybe you and your employees have made a cool behind-the-scenes video. That is something that would really show off your environment and your personality. So, is there a way you can incorporate a holiday or seasonal message? That's another thing. Let's say you own a bed and breakfast at the beach. In the dead of winter, send a photo of your property under warm sunshine. Ask your customers to think about planning their summer getaway, or maybe you work in a tax preparation. Thanksgiving would be a good time to let your clients know how to account for any charitable giving so they're ready for tax season in the new year. Those are just a few ideas. So let's talk about how much content you should include in your email. Think about it. How often do you look forward to reading a long, detailed email from a business? Not very often, right? So you're looking for something concise and easy to read. What's the news? What are the details of the deal or sale? Is there any action I want or need to take? And that's what you should think about when you create your own emails. When it comes to email content, less is always more. There is no rule that says your newsletter needs to have 3 articles, 3 pictures, 3 links. One thing is plenty. There's actually a Constant Contact customer whose newsletter is called One Thing. He did it to make it easy on himself, and it works really well. People can absorb it, and he's not under the gun to come up with a bunch of content to fill in. We did a survey of our customers and found that the best practice is to limit yourself to 20 lines of text and 3 or fewer images. Just like you, your audience is busy. You don't need to worry about sending a ton of information every time. So our research also shows that one link gets the best click-through rates. You want your audience to take an action, to use a link to make that clear. 2 lines are okay, or 2 links are okay, but once you get to 3, the click-through rate starts to decline. Any higher than 5 links means that people are less likely to click anywhere in your email. So try to stick with only 1 or 2 links and keep them high on your message so people do not have to scroll through to take action. And don't forget that more than half of your audience is reading email on a mobile device. Who's going to scroll through 14 articles on their phone? Not me. And if you're mobile readers, make sure that you're keeping your message short and your call to action above the fold, meaning readers don't have to scroll down to get your most important content. And also for those of you that are nonprofits, it's important to have that donate tab available front and center at the beginning. I've learned that. So even if the idea of creating content still feels daunting, remember, keep your messages short and focused to actually, which is actually much better than putting tons of information into one email. You could use outlines to help you further focus your ideas and organize the sections of your email. Any text you'll write yourself, any photos or videos you want to use, and any content from outside sources that you want to share. We'll talk about content curation in a few minutes. But jot down a list of topics that come up in conversation with your customers, your members, your clients, volunteers, or donors, and use those to spark ideas for email campaigns. If you get 5 questions from your clients, that's 5 separate email topics that you can build on. And show your expertise in your field. Become a knowledgeable resource for your audience, and they will look forward to emails from you. And make your messages reflect your brand. This is easy to do with email tools like Constant Contact. We won't get into the email design today, but you can visit the website for great design tips and tricks to make your emails look virtually and visually fantastic. So let's talk about turning your interactions with customers, clients, members, supporters, and volunteers into content for your email. So first, think for a second about the last interaction you had with someone at your organization. What questions did a customer or client have? What information are people requesting about your nonprofit? Can you turn an answer to their question into an email? So here are some great examples. One easy way to practice this in real life is to create 2 columns in a spreadsheet or a document, or just on a piece of paper with the questions you regularly get on the left, and then in the right column, write down a way you can turn these answers to those questions into a full email of fresh, relevant content. This exercise works really well. So I want to show you the difference between a regular email from your Outlook, Gmail, or Yahoo account and one sent through an email service like Constant Contact. An email from a service provider looks better. You get noticed. You can use it to feature your brand, top logo, colors, and include graphics that will capture your reader's attention. All of this, including the graphics, comprises email content. With the combination of text and great images, you'll get through to your audience. That's a fact. And from a purely legal and practical perspective, an email service provider will help protect your message from being considered spam. So check out the email on the right. The colors and graphics make the message eye-catching and more professional looking than the one on the left, right? Yes. So as a matter of fact, and this might be a relief for those suffering from writer's block, Great content doesn't have to be written at all. Visual content like photos, videos, graphics, and word images make a huge impact on email inbox. Did you know that 90% of information processed by the brain is visual content, and more than half of consumers believe that images are a very important factor when buying? Visuals are important to your business because they influence customers' purchasing decisions. 67% of consumers believe that images are a very important factor when selecting and purchasing a product. Now, all eBay sellers know how important that first image is when you're presenting your product. You can use photos to show off your products or shots from a recent event. You can link to videos to show your organization in action or a product demonstration. Word images is a brief phrase, statistic, or quote over a background image are also a great way to share information in an eye-catching way. And creating visual content is easier than ever these days. Almost everyone with a smartphone has the ability to shoot high-quality photos and videos. You don't need too much time or a huge marketing budget to create compelling images anymore. You've got the technology right there in your pocket. You've heard that a picture is worth 1,000 words. In your email, you can communicate through images as well as text. Turn your images into clickable links so that when your readers click on your image, they'll be directed to the action you want them to take. Just make sure you also include a text link to the same location, because about 67% of email readers will not see the image by default. Email tools like Constant Contact make it easy to assign a URL to your image and also to add alt text, that's ALT text, so that a description of the image appears even if the reader doesn't see the picture. So side note, try to avoid giving too many choices in your campaign. These are supposed to be quick decisions to act. Clicking to shop on your online store or selecting an item, clicking to buy, making a donation. Too many choices will reduce the number of decisions or actions a person can take. It's a time limit thing. Think of your campaign as window shopping. You want to entice someone to come in right then and there and buy because of whatever got their attention. So when you're using images in your marketing, you're faced with the task of creating that content, deciding what images are best, and determining their context and the story around them. That's a lot to think about when you're probably wondering where to begin. So here's some direction. Images can be created around your business, your environment and what's around you, your expertise, and themes that you decide your audience will love. You don't have to you don't have to have a product to sell to include visual content in your emails. If you have a new employee, feature their photo with a caption explaining who they are and what they'll bring to your business. If you're a nonprofit, share photos of recent events or a graphic showing the progress of a fundraising campaign. Photos are a frequent and necessary piece for visual content. Sometimes you may find you need a photo that you do not have or cannot create on your own, and there are a variety of online stock photo sites where you can search for just the right photo that fits your needs. They are a great resource and can work well for visual content that's based around a theme, a tip, a fact, or a quote. So when you download a photo, be sure it's the right size or slightly larger. You can always crop it or scale it down, but will lose image quality if you try to enlarge a small image too much. Oops. There we go. It might be tempting, but it's never a good idea to use just any image you find through a search, including sample stock photos with a watermark on them. So there can be copyright issues associated with those images. They belong to someone else. When using stock photos, you purchase the rights to use the photos, or in some cases, accept a free download and agree to certain credit conditions. Fees can vary, so shop around for what feels right for you and fits your budget. So here are some services you can use to get free stock photos. Also, Constant Contact customers have access to 12 million images through Big Stock. Even if you aren't a customer, Big Stock offers a free trial for new users. And my follow-up email will have direct links to all of those, so no worries if you don't have to write all those down. Video is a powerful way to engage with your audience. People prefer watching a video to reading long web pages full of text. So when using video, make sure you mention in your subject line that your email includes a video so your readers know about it right away. Consumers prefer watching a video to reading long text articles. In fact, 50% of people are more likely to read emails that include a video. And make sure the length of your video is within 90 seconds. That's the point at which 58% of viewers will stop watching. You can make a video for your business. Use it to show product demos, customer testimonials, promotional material, or share user-generated content. So we're talking about email today, but video is becoming very prominent on social media. 84% of consumers have liked videos from companies in their social media newsfeed. If you email a video link, you can also repurpose it on your social media platforms for your audience to watch and share. So the example here is a great way to use video. The Pajama program sent this email out with a link to a video thanking their donors. Just remember to keep videos short. We've said it a few times already, but your audience is very busy. Videos should be about 90 seconds or less. Make sure you're using a video in a careful, deliberate way. If you have some specific action that you want your readers to take, for example, to register for an event, you should choose text and pictures rather than video. Using a video in that case will lessen the likelihood that your readers will take the action because they will click on the video and be overtaken to YouTube. So keep that in mind too. All right, now let's talk about curating content, which is finding and distributing content that is relevant, educational, entertaining, and newsworthy. At this point, you may be feeling overwhelmed. You have to think up of indefinite ideas to create content from scratch. That's not the case at all. I know you don't have time to spare in the operation of your small organization. The great news is that you can curate content, meaning that you can find content created by others and share it with your email contacts. I do this all the time. So think about a curator in an art museum. I love this example. Is that person uses their expertise to collect and present artwork from many different sources and arrange them in a way that's educational and organized. They're not actually responsible for painting those paintings. Your curated content could be a link to a news article related to your organization with a brief paragraph including your perspective. The example on your screen is a list is of a cycling company sharing their favorite headlines in cycling news for a weekly newsletter. All they had to do was write a brief introduction and then link to the articles. Your audience will come to rely on you as an expert in your field. Let's say you run an animal shelter and you come across an article about coyotes in your area. You can introduce that link by giving some helpful tips for pet owners to keep their dogs and cats safe. Or maybe you own a restaurant and a new food trend has been talked about in national media. You can link to a video from a TV station and tell your contacts how you've added some trendy items to your menu. There are a lot of different places online where you can find content to share through your emails. So first, you can read your local and national news. Check with the newspaper. Maybe you've been mentioned, or maybe you have something to say about going on in your community. A lot of news sites offer their recent content for free. Just make sure that if you link to content on a news site, it's not something you need to subscribe to or read. I found that so annoying. Somebody sent me a link to something, and when I clicked it, I had to subscribe to the newspaper before I could read it. So make sure that you double check that. You can also read blogs related to your field. One way to easily gather lots of blog posts is through Feedly. It is a service that agitates blogs from all over. You can customize a Feedly account by selecting the areas you're interested in reading about, and it's a great way to find content you'll share with your contacts. You could also follow others on social media. This is a world of the most unlimited possibilities. So let's go back to that animal shelter example. They would want to follow other shelters like the ASPCA, pet retailers, and other animal advocacy groups and share content from those sources. You can set up Google alerts. Google will agitate pages that mention a phrase you've created for an alert. You should definitely set one up using your organization's name to keep an eye on what people are saying about you online. And then also subscribe to other email lists. This is a great way to get ideas for content and see what other people are sharing. And finally, you should always provide links to the original source and let people know why you're sharing the content. Now, some people have asked me whether it's plagiarism to share content by other people, and the answer is definitely not. As long as you cite your source, you can share what's publicly available. You're actually helping the source broaden their audience by sharing their content with your audience. The difference between sharing and plagiarism is citing the source. If you were to copy and paste someone's blog post and pass it off as your own without mentioning the source, then yes, you're plagiarizing. Always give credit where credit is due. Now, a side note to offer a personal tip. Oops. Okay, perfect. I see the questions coming in. So no worries. Please hold on to those questions and leave them in there, and I will answer questions at the end. So, and then if your question gets answered, feel free to remove it. But what I wanted to mention on a personal level was that I would suggest creating a separate email account that's dedicated for marketing. And this will keep your current business account or your personal email account free from too many emails. So I have a special, like an anonymous email account that I set up for Google Alerts and also for joining newsletters. So you can join newsletters of your competition, join newsletters of the news industry, and then that way your personal email or your business email won't get bombarded. And then on marketing day, all I do is go open up that email, and then I start focusing on seeking out content to share on social media or to share on my emails that need to go out. So that's just my personal tip for the day. All right. Now, one way to get creative and great content is actually easy to share via email and on social media, as I mentioned, is to have others create it for you. So you can do that through sharing behind-the-scenes videos or photos like this one from the Avenue Gallery showing one of the employees loading a painting to be transported. You can also use client or customer testimonials. There are a few ways you can approach these. You can ask a client to share their story on a video or write a paragraph about their experience. Or if you have a place on your website for reviews, you can pull content right from those reviews. You can also compile user-generated content. This feedback post from Wachovia Falls RV shares photos from a customer who documented her recent visit. One way to inspire user-generated content is to create a hashtag. A hashtag is a word or phrase beginning with a pound sign or a hash sign that creates a link connecting all of the posts using that hashtag on a particular social network. You can create your own hashtag by coming up with a unique word or phrase or even your brand name. Just make sure you keep it short and don't use any spaces or punctuation, just letters and numbers. For example, at Constant Contact, their employees use hashtag CTCTLife to share pictures and videos of the company culture. So once you've created a hashtag, ask your customers, your clients, your members of your organization, employees and volunteers to create social media posts and to use that hashtag. Encourage everyone to use it. And then you can select your favorite things to share based on that hashtag. So now we're going to talk about how you can extend your reach beyond your email audience. So once you've decided what content you're going to use in your communication, it's time to share it. So this way you extend your reach as much as possible. Using email is one way to share content, but you can also share it through social media. Email marketing tools like Constant Contact make it easy for you to share your content on different social platforms and also for your audience to share your content across their social platforms. It's a win-win. So when you're thinking about content to use on social media, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can use the content you've already sent in your email and break it into smaller pieces of social media content. So don't worry, this isn't going to translate into a lot of extra work for you. You're already building out content for the future as you focus on your emails. So for example, let's say you're a marketing consultant for a business that run a lot of events, and you've sent an email to those clients with 4 tips about selling tickets for their event. So we'll call that your original email. Next, let's quickly think of a few ways to extend the content by expanding on each tip on its very own social media post. The tip on sending your invitation in advance could be expanded to a Facebook post about when to send your event invitations. Next could be hanging flyers in your store, could be turned into a great infographic on effective flyer design that you share across all of your social networks. And then advice to post on Facebook could expand to a blog post on promoting events on Facebook, which you can share across all your social networks. And a tip about special pricing for VIPs could be repurposed into 5 tweets and spread it across a week about the things that the VIPs want. So here's an example of a company, the Grafton Inn in Vermont, repurposing content. They use this image of a porch swing in their email, which announces summer activities at the inn. They repurpose the photo on Facebook to show their weekly schedule, and on Instagram, they shared it with their followers with a cute caption. You can do the same thing. Take a tip, a quote, an image, or anything that your audience will find interesting and share it on whatever social networks work for you. And do keep a few things in mind first. Change the content a little bit for each network. And I'm not just talking about its size. Change the caption or the text in the post to reflect the style, the etiquette, and the voice for each network. Don't post exactly the same thing in every place. Next, don't worry about being repetitive. People are following you because they like you. They might miss your post on Facebook but catch it later on Pinterest. Or they might follow you on Pinterest and not Facebook. So you need to make sure you're covering all the places that people might be seeing your content. And finally, we're talking about using multiple social networks. Keep in mind that you don't have to use all of them for your business. Just choose the ones that are right for you and your audience. It's better to focus on a couple of social networks and do a good job with them than to have a bunch that you don't have time for and manage poorly. So when it comes to extending your reach, you want to make sure that you're mentioning your audience where they are, that you're reaching where they are. So email is a great place to start, but you can reach more people. Whoops. Here we go. You can reach more people by expanding. Email is a great place to start, as I said, but you can reach more people by sharing your email content on all of your social media platforms. So think of it this way. There's probably some overlap between your email contact list and your followers on social media, but those groups are not likely to be identical. Also, what your followers do on social media, their followers see. If someone likes or comments on your post on Facebook, all of their friends will see that and they'll see your name. So marketing on social media tends to be less expensive than traditional advertising. If cost is an issue, you'll get more returns on your time, money, and energy by going first through email and then adding through Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. Each has its own typical audience and decision process. You want to start on the social networks you already use and then begin to move where your customers and contacts are so that you can leverage the existing network you have on these sites and begin to generate some social visibility along the way. So to be clear, email is part of social media. And if you're doing it right, keeping your messages short, making the action or response obvious and simple, and providing access, information, and real value, then you will grow your business, period. Fact. Now the best part of this, if you are a Constant Contact customer, we make sharing your emails on social media really easy. If you're using Constant Contact, you can add the share bar to the top of your emails, and this allows readers to post a link to your email on their social media profiles. And then add social media buttons that link to your business, social media profiles. The buttons are nice visual reminders for them to click and follow you online. And then remind your audience to share your promotions. Ask them to like you on Facebook, retweet on Twitter, or pin on Pinterest. Your audience has a lot of influence via word of mouth, and you can get your promotions in front of more people, which would be their friends and their family, and they will actually help spread the word for you. Constant Contact allows you to extend the reach of your emails by using the Social Share tool. Social Share offers a quick and easy way to share an email on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn with suggested post messages, images, and the best time of day to schedule posts based on when your social audience is most active. It makes sense and it makes it easy to plan posts for an email with a monthly calendar. I actually use that all the time on Constant Contact, and I post 3 different replays and repurpose of one email campaign. It works really well. All right, now let's talk about the next steps you can take. Now remember, when you're thinking of content you'll create from scratch, you're not writing for yourself. You're writing for your audience. So use links to direct your audience where you want them to go, and make your messages relevant, short, and focused, with the call to action very clear. It can be very helpful to keep a calendar to schedule emails and social media posts ahead of time. Keep that running list of topics that come up your organization and plan your publishing schedule in whatever way that works best for you. There are no hard and fast rules about how you should schedule. Just make sure whatever you do is realistic for you to follow, whether you use Outlook, Calendar, Google Doc, a notepad on your mobile device, or a handwritten schedule, or anything else that keeps you organized. If you're using an email marketing service like Constant Contact, you can track which types of content get the most clicks and opens, and then use that information as a guide for future emails going forward. You can also from time to time send out a survey asking your audience what types of content they'd prefer to receive from you. I have to say that surveys are very powerful, and they just provide such useful information. And they also help you, if you have questions, open-ended questions when you send out surveys, that's the perfect segue for posts and curated content or blog posts. So in the beginning of this presentation, I said that email content boils down to a picture, a paragraph, and a call to action. So you can use this as a really basic outline to create content for any subject you think of. Take the last question you answered for a customer, a client, member, donor, or volunteer, whatever your whoever it was from, and develop an email around it using a picture, a paragraph, and a call to action. So let's go back to our first example about the vacations in Hawaii and say our customer question is, what offers are available in renting in Kauai? I don't even know how to say that, Kauai. First, the picture. Remember, 90% of information absorbed by the brain is visual, so how can you illustrate the subject to catch your reader's attention? Don't forget, you can use stock photography if you don't need to be selling a product to use visuals. This photo of a beautiful seaside cliff in Hawaii grabs the reader and makes her want to learn more about seeing it in person. I know I want to see it now. Next, what you need to do is write. Respond to that last question you were asked. Your paragraph can be just a few words introducing a link, which could be a longer explanation about the subject, or tips to answer the question in a few steps. In the example, the paragraph explains that rentals are available and that every third night is free. And finally, you have your call to action. What do you want your audience to do in reaction to your email? Come to your business for a consultation, buy a product, register for an event, or donate. Make your call to action prominent and clear. Here, the call to action is a link where readers can go to the vacation company's website and see, and hopefully reserve the available rentals on the island. Okay, so that's a wrap, and I have more information directly on my website. You can visit while you wait. Otherwise, I will be sending out a follow-up email of this recorded presentation that will have direct links to everything that I discussed. And now we will open up for questions. And I'm going to stop the recording for the question time. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I'm going to stop recording, and you can go, well, watch your inbox for the follow-up email and all of the transcripts. Wow, we have a full house. Thank you, everybody, for coming.